What's going on, PC fam? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. What's going on, Chill Town?
One more day, Big Ox, and basketball is back. I mean, I feel like I'm going through withdrawal, Big. Like, man, yo, we gotta get this back cracking again. For real, we ain't had no basketball in what 4 days now? 3 days?
It's been too long.
Yes, can we get back to it, please?
Yeah, no doubt. Had a great panel episode this morning. Shout out to the guy Slim. You could tell talking to him. You could tell he's he loves ball. You could tell he knows ball. He played ball. Yeah, good guy. It was a great show.
It's not a lot of dudes that I hear and I'm like, yo, I wouldn't mind talking basketball with him. And there's some dudes I'm like, I'm good. But dude, he know what he's talking about, so I'm good with him.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
But you brought up an interesting topic earlier. That I kind of want to get back at too. You talked about Kevin Durant, and if he would have been accepted with open arms back to OKC after he went to Golden State.
Right.
I was against it, still against it. I don't like it. Before you ask that question though, Chilton, where did that come from, and like what's your full take on that?
I was thinking where we are right now in the landscape of the league, and I think we're in a different time. I think we're in a time where there's a lot of uncertainty with guys in the league. There's a lot of guys that are tweeners. What I mean when I say tweeners, Big Ox, they're between being the guy and not being the guy. Like, we don't have a definitive guy in this era. I don't feel like we do. I feel like it could change at any point. I don't think we're living in the James era where James was clearly the best player in the league or Jordan was the best player. I don't think we're living in that era right now. So we got guys bouncing around, and I was thinking to myself, because I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday, and we were talking about guys bouncing around, and the conversation came up about KD, him being a leader. And I had asked if KD were to go back to, he had just finished his run with the Golden State Warriors, 3 years, being in the NBA championship 2 of those 3 years. If he doesn't get hurt, I think they win the NBA championship again. If he comes out at the end of that run in the summer of 2019 and goes to Oklahoma City and says, I want to come back home, do they open their arms and accept him, considering, and this is coming from management, this isn't the fans, this isn't the OKC players, because Russ and Roberson are the only two dudes that's on the crew in 19, going into the 1920 season, before they traded Russ in the summer. Him and Roberson are the only two dudes on that crew that was on the crew in 16. Everybody else is gone. So do the Oklahoma City Thunder management, is this a no-brainer for them like it was with James? Do they just go, yes, let's do it. Let's bring them back. And we're not asking any questions. Because I'm thinking about it, Ox, from the aspect of how James left Cleveland.
Right.
He left Cleveland abruptly. They didn't see it coming. He was homegrown. He was one of theirs. And he ends up leaving them in the midst of trying to win a championship. Only except he doesn't go to the Boston Celtics, right? He's going to the Miami Heat, who isn't their problem.
Right.
Their problem was the Orlando Magic. He doesn't go play for them. He doesn't go jump on the Boston Celtics. He goes to the Miami Heat. So 4 years later, after 3 years of the Cleveland Cavaliers being at the bottom of the Eastern Conference and being one of the worst teams, if not the worst team, I think they lost 26 straight games the year after he left. So with that being said, them being one of the worst teams for the last couple of years, for him to come back after what Dan Gilbert has said, after the exchange between those two. Now, remember, there was people in his camp that really wasn't feeling him going back to Cleveland. There was people in his camp that were like, man, wait a minute. Hold on. It's going to take some convincing from some people. He looked at it strictly from business. Like, I started something. I said that I was going to do this, and let's go back and finish it. And eventually he won some people over in his camp, went back home, and they accepted him. Like, yo, come back home. Absolutely. And he won it. KD, on the other hand, he leaves Oklahoma City in the midst of a championship and as a championship contender and go jump on the other crew. Literally.
Window wide open, Chilltown.
We are not over, Big Ox. It's not like this crew that I'm on is over. No, this is how open the window is. We still got a lot of time left. And instead, he goes and jumps on that crew, wins championships with that crew. We end up not going into obscurity, but we're a mid-team at this point. We're not very good. We're a mid-team at best. But we do have some bright spots. We have Russell Westbrook, who won the league MVP still. KD decides in that summer. What if KD decides in that summer, yo, Russ, let's get the band back together. I was wrong for what I did. Let me get with management and see how they feel about it. Let's get the band back together. From a management standpoint, Big Ox, I think that management says yes. I do. I think that management says yes because they're looking at it from KD still being a superstar and what kind of revenue it's going to bring in. From a team perspective, I don't think Russ wants anything to do with KD. I don't. I don't think he wants anything to do. I think he's looking at KD like, no, absolutely not.
It's crazy. I couldn't imagine him wanting to play with KD ever again after that.
After that,
I see where was it in the chat? Brax said that'd be too early. Maybe after Brooklyn.
So last
after
year,
Brooklyn, okay, yeah, basically last year.
So last year, considering what this Oklahoma City team is now, hence the term maybe, Big Ox, because he wasn't a free agent, which means that they would have to move off some things to get KD. Plus, KD is 35 years old, which bodes the question: how many more years does KD have left?
He probably got two after this.
Yeah, I think he's got two. Now,
yeah.
What are you giving up to get KD in Oklahoma City? What did you mortgage?
The Suns gave up Mikal and Cam Johnson.
Yep.
And what, 2 firsts?
I think it was 3 of them.
3 firsts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was 3.
So J-Dub, Josh Giddey, and 3 first rounds.
J-Dub, Josh Giddey, and 3 ones. The money doesn't match up though because KD is a max player.
That's right. That's right. Mikal and Cam was making way more than that.
Right. They was making way more than that. So these dudes on rook deals. Right. So Josh Giddey hasn't been extended yet.
Right.
So he's still on a rook deal. So with that being said, we may have to get a third team involved in this because with these guys specifically, the money's not going to match. And what third team is going to help Oklahoma City and Brooklyn? Because I don't think that there's a third team that wants anything to do with that. And I
believe there's some way. There's a way if you get in. Either way, they could figure it out. Like how you're saying, get a third team involved. So, if in that instance,
right,
this year after the Nets, I could see OKC moving some things around to put KD with SGA. I could see that. Right. And they got Chet coming too. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But again, I'm thinking about KD as an older KD. KD's not getting on a crew to be a mentor or he's trying to what he's doing in Phoenix. He's trying to win. And he ain't trying to win in 3 or 4 years because I don't have that kind of time left. He's trying to win now. So you add that in with the attitude that was going on in Oklahoma City. I don't think that after he leaves Golden State to come right back to Oklahoma City that works. I don't think that from a fan and from a player perspective, they would have to move off of Russ, which now leads me to think, well, if that's the case, well, damn, Big Ox, why did he leave Oklahoma City in the first place when the window was wide open?
Wide open.
Because Russ, at that point, isn't the same player today that he was in 2016. He's actually better today. So if we move back to 2016, why not move off of him then? Because you probably could have got something for Russ. And with that window being wide open, we still had an opportunity to compete. Now, if you're moving off Russ, who's still coming off an MVP, who's still coming off a MVP type season, he's still an elite player at that point. You traded for Paul George. Carmelo Anthony's already gone. And remember, Big Ox, you losing KD for that season. That 19-20 season, he's not playing. So it's not like you get him for that season. You don't get him until the 2021 season. So what are you willing to mortgage in order to bring KD back? In all actuality, I think it's a tough sell. I don't think it's a tough sell to Oklahoma City management because, again, it's Oklahoma City. And to have a top-tier player like KD who still has some years left, I don't think it's a tough sell to them. I think the tough sell is to the fans and to Russell Westbrook, who I ultimately think they would have to move off. Because I don't think at that point, especially after watching Russ watching him win those championships with the team we were battling against, who we went super hard against, and for you to jump on that crew and win championships with them, and now I got to sell to Russ, he wants to come back home and win with you. I don't think Russ wants anything to do with him. Nothing.
No,
as a basketball player, I don't think Russ wants anything to do with him, which means they'd have to come off Russ.
Yeah, Russ. If I'm Russ, I'd have to demand it. Like, if you bring him, you got to get rid of me right now. Like,
I don't think he wants anything to do with him. I don't.
If he's in the building, I'm not coming to work.
I don't think he wants any, because if you're trying to sell me that the bad blood between those guys on the floor was just being competitive, you could sell that to me if we actually saw these guys off the floor. I didn't see Russ talking about KD. I didn't see Russ talking to KD. I heard KD saying, I love Russ. I would love to talk to Russ. Russ didn't want anything to do with him, though. Nothing. And now you got a different Russ. When I say a different Russ, Big Ox, I'm talking about an MVP Russ. I'm talking about a triple-double Russ. I'm talking about one of the best players in the league now, even more than I was before Russ. I'm talking about a Russ who stayed loyal to this unit, who stayed loyal to the soil, I believe is what they call it, who stayed loyal to Oklahoma City. And now you entertaining this dude who dumped us? You entertaining this dude who dumped us to go play with them dudes? And now you want me to sit in the room with him and have a conversation about us potentially getting back together? At that point, I don't think Russ wants anything to do with him. Nothing.
No. At least not without some couples therapy first. Yeah, we gotta sit down and work it out.
I think it's different at this point, Ox, because I'm thinking about Russell Westbrook, where he was at his career at that point. Because remember, in 2016, Russ had asked, even when KD had left and went to Golden State and signed with them, Russ had asked him, yo, what is it that you want me to do? Almost sounding like the marriage is breaking up, and the husband saying, yo, what do I need to do to fix this? Talk to me. Tell me what I need to do. And there was nothing that he could really do. And he bounced like that. So don't get me wrong. Over time, you might be able to have a conversation, but that small period of time that has passed, and with that small period of time passing, and what KD did and what Russ did, I think that's going to be a hard sell. A hard sell.
Speaking of that, so KD, it's post All-Star game. We had some good talks during All-Star game. Just, how it is. Every time we see stars together, we start making speculation. Can I get let me get 4 predictions total from you, Chilton. I want 2 predictions on what 2 players you think actually are planning on linking up, or like you can see actually linking up in the future, stars, and also 2 predictions or just 2 duos that you would like to see.
2 duos that I would like to see. We actually had a conversation earlier today. I wouldn't mind Kyrie Irving and Joker. I'd like to see what that looked like. I would like to see what that looks like, because Jamal Murray is one of my favorite guards in the league. He's one of the best tough shot makers in the game. His chemistry with Joker, him playing off Joker the way he does. And I think Kyrie Irving, in terms of a talent, he may be better. I'd like to. I wonder how that dynamic would work. I don't want to screw up what's currently going on in Denver. I don't want to currently screw up what's going on in Denver because I love what's going on with Jamal Murray and Joker. The way that they play off each other, that 2-man action. I think that's one of the best 2-man actions, not just in the game, that I've ever seen. I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I've seen a better 2-man action in the league up until this point. I don't mean like Kobe and Shaq. I don't mean Scottie and Mike and all. I'm talking about in recent years. I mean, I saw James and Irv. Those guys were fantastic together. They won the NBA championship. But in recent years, like in the last 2-3 years, I haven't seen 2-man action that's as good as what those two guys do. And that includes James and Anthony Davis. Well, wait a minute. Let me take that. Let me take that back, Ox. Because James and Anthony Davis in 2020, that was pretty phenomenal.
It was.
That was. I'm not sure anything could replicate that. That was definitely phenomenal. Those two. So maybe I'm jumping the gun on Irvin and James. Maybe I haven't seen anything like that since James and AD. In terms of 2-man action. I don't think Drew Holiday and Giannis were like that in terms of a 2-man game. As good as Draymond is, his 2-man action with Curry was pretty good. But I think Draymond, his action was more suited for the entire offense. Like when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, his action, the action that they ran with him involved, it was suited for everybody. Now, Joker and Murray, because Joker is the long ball shooter he is, but more importantly, the passer that he is, and Murray, the tough shot maker that he is, those two guys are definitely one of the best. That's one of the best 2-man actions I've seen. So when I think about if you took Murray off that crew and you put Irv on there, how would Irv play off of Joker? Because Irv is really efficient in the mid-range. He could definitely knock down the long ball off the dribble.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hate seeing that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't hate seeing it. I'll tell you one that's not happening, Big Ox. I know that everybody saw this quote-unquote romance between Joker and Luka. Them two dudes is not playing together. No.
Not gonna happen?
No. It's not happening. No.
I don't know. They're still young enough.
I don't think so. I mean, no. If we're talking about in their primes, that's one thing. But if we're talking about later on in their careers, that's one thing. But if we're talking about in their primes, nah, I don't think that the Dallas Mavericks are giving Denver Luka or Denver is giving Dallas Joker. He's going to have to walk out the front door and go to Dallas. He's going to have to walk out the front door and go to Denver, which I don't think he's going to do. I don't.
Well, what is Joker? Joker's 4 or 5 years older than Luka?
Yes, I think he's 20.
So, yeah.
I think he's 28.
28, yeah. Mm-hmm. We could see it once Joker gets maybe 33.
Now, all right,
he'll still be able to move the ball, still be able to, he'll still be able to with his style of play. He still might be very, very effective at 33, 34 years old.
So we getting him on the backside. So we getting Joker on the backside.
But still dangerous and deadly. And Luka will be 28, prime peak Luka. So that's scary. If they get together in 4, 5, 6 years, that's still gonna be. I would say in 4 or 5 years, that's still gonna be a mean duo. But okay, so that's what you would. But would you like to see them Luka and Jokic, or not so much? Is that not exciting or entertaining?
It's not. It's really for me. It's not, because one, Luka has the ball in his hand so much, and the offense runs through Joker the way it does, and the way Joker works. I haven't seen Luka be able to play off the basketball like that. There's a difference between being a primary ball handler and the offense running through you. Luka is the primary ball handler, and the offense runs through him. Jamal Murray is the primary ball handler. The O runs through Joker. That means that Luka would have to get off the peel way more. That means that the offense would have to change, which may not be conducive to Luka's game, depending on who the coach is. Because Luka, he's so used to having the basketball. He's so used to creating shots for other people. With Joker, with that offense, the offense is what creates shots for other people. In addition to Joker being as smart as he is, the action. Joker feeds off the action, which creates shots for other people. It's not Joker just having the ball and pounding the ball and pounding the ball and as you would say, Big Ox, throwing grenades at guys. No, he's not doing that. There's a lot of off-ball movement. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of action with him. So because of that, that's not conducive to Luka's game. That's not who Luka is. So I'm not really sure that I love that. I'm not sure that I love that. This Giannis and Dame thing, a lot of people, including myself, we don't love it. And the reason why I don't love it is because Dame's game isn't conducive to what that roster is built. Now, if they fix that roster, I think that him and Dame, Giannis and Dame, we could get some more action between those two guys. So I still think that's a 3-year window, including this year. I still think it's a 3-year window.
Yeah, I can see that, but chill. I don't think it looks the way people thought it was going to look, and this is what I thought it was going to look like. I was saying this when the trade happened, and chill. I mean, they talked about me bad in the comments and everything. Said I was a hater. Oh, you hate Giannis. Giannis is why is Ox always hating on Giannis? It's not that. I think they're both tremendous players, but it just doesn't go to me.
I think a lot of people get confused with a guy just because he's a baller. He could play with anybody. Not a lot of guys have plug-in games like KD. KD could step on anybody's roster because KD is somewhat of a specialist where KD knocks down open shots. KD is a bucket getter. That kind of game travels. Luka's game doesn't travel everywhere. You have to build around Luka's game. You don't really have to build around KD's game. You can put KD on Minnesota. He's a bucket getter. All we got to do is plug him in. You could put him in Cleveland. He's a bucket getter. Giannis, his game is a little bit different where it might travel different. There's not many guys whose game travels just right across the board. Like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's game travels. It's a big. You might have to change the offense up a little bit, but Joel Embiid's game travels.
Yeah, chill. Before we do move on, I just want to point out that Kevin Durant on this Cleveland Cavaliers team would be crazy.
They win the
that
NBA
would
championship.
Be insane.
They win the NBA championship. Big Ox.
That would be. Yeah, it wouldn't.
You know how I feel about Boston. You know how I feel about Boston. You know how I feel
we're not
about
even going to talk about Boston.
Cleveland, if KD is on Cleveland, they're the NBA champs.
Yeah, they could just stop the season right now.
Yes.
It'd be all right.
Line up the parade in Cleveland because there's your NBA champs right there.
Man, for sure. Before we get to our next segment, let's see what the guys in the back are talking about. Let's pull up who we got. We got Brax. Let me see. Yeah, Brax still back there. What's good, Brax?
What up? What up?
What's good?
What up?
Really, the only thing I want to talk about is that point you had with Westbrook and KD. I don't think Westbrook would have a problem with KD. I don't think he would. Like,
do you remember Russ and KD from back then?
I remember.
What did you? Okay, before you go any further, what do you remember about that time? What do you remember?
What about them? I remember they was best buds. You know what I'm saying? KD
when they was on the crew, of course.
Right. They was best buds. Locked in, and then KD did what he did. Russ didn't really like him for sure, but
I think that's an understatement, brother.
No,
I do. I
think that's a little bit more than I get what you mean, but I think the biggest thing with it is we all know Westbrook is he wants to win. So like he'll do whatever to win. My biggest example is he had real beef with Patrick Beverly. And they literally squashed it and they actually found out, you're not that bad of a guy. And Pat Bev injured Westbrook.
Yep. Now,
and we all know.
Now, mind you, him and Pat Beverly had real beef. How far back did that go? Like, when did that happen? That was in what, 15 or 14? It was 14.
It was something around that time frame.
Right.
What was that year? I think it was 15, the 14-15 season. I think.
So then they get on the crew in what, 22?
Yeah.
So that's 7 years later. So KD, 3 years after what he did, Russ becoming the player that he became after he leaves KD. Not only after he leaves KD.
Chill. We can't even entertain that. I'm sorry to cut it off, Brax, because what happened with Pat Beverly and Russ does not compare to what happened.
He literally tore his meniscus. Westbrook is not
that wasn't a good play. I didn't mind the play. I thought he was going. I thought he was.
You didn't mind it?
Doing this thing. I did not mind it at all. I was like, okay, you got hurt. It was unfortunate. A lot of people feel that it was a dirty play. I don't think it was necessarily dirty. I think it was Pat Bev doing Pat Bev stuff. I don't think he was trying to hurt Russ. But with that being said, that was a semi-serious beef situation. But what happened with KD and Russ was personal, deep, and that was love.
It was deep from an organ.
You turned your back on me. That's way different. If you ask me,
Brax, I really don't think you digging what really happened here. B like,
I'm an OKC fan. You know, I get it.
That's what I'm saying. Be like, you and me, we together in this, and we trying to do it. Meanwhile, you going behind my back, telling dude who we after. Like, yo,
look, I get that. I get that. But also,
how do I get back with you, B?
I think you blown out of proportion, like what it really was. Like KD literally said himself, "I have no beef with Russ." Like,
and Russ did you hear anything from Russ?
What that look? Because Russ.
Why would KD have beef with Russ? He the one who did the snake move. Look, how am I going to steal from you and be mad at you?
Listen, KD literally said, Russ is not the reason I'm leaving. I have no beef with Russ. This team, this organization, they're not building correctly around me. There's plenty of moves that I wanted to get done, and they're not doing it. We don't have any spacing. We don't run our team isn't optimized around me. Right. So I left, went to Golden State, and I won.
Our adversary.
Granted, they're the team that just kicked my ass, but
how did I go back to that, yo?
Look, I think it'd be on some sucker stuff for KD to go back,
Great
but
sucker.
I don't think Russ would be mad if KD was like, "Look, bro, I'm sorry, my bad. That's on me. This one's on me, coach. You feel me?"
I think where the divide is with you and I is where Russ is at that point in his career, right? So it's bad enough he already, and you being an OKC fan, you remember this,
right?
It's bad enough Russ actually thought he was better than KD. There was rumbling. Oh, absolutely. There was rumblings that between Russ and KD. I never thought that.
Just as good, maybe.
But then you want to compound that with you bounce like you did to where you bounced, and then I end up doing what I did, and I end up winning the league MVP. You guys should have built this thing around me, and now he wants to come back. This is the same dude who said he has no beef with me, but it was really with the organization. To go jump on a crew with them dudes, and now you want me to get back on with you? Look, I know you're gonna leave me high and dry again. Let's see that soon. It's not like it was.
Now that's a good point. How do I know you're not gonna do it again? That's a great point.
And to your point, like with Pat Beverly, that was 6-7 years ago. Like we could talk about.
He tore his meniscus.
Right, he did.
Especially from Westbrook, who doesn't get injuries
ever.
And the fact that I'm pretty sure he already didn't like him from that point. So the fact that you injured me, and I'm not an injury type of guy. Oh no, you my op for life. I don't like you.
Right.
So the fact that 7 years later of this beef boiling, the fact that I was able to just, you know what, bro, clean slate. Let's win these basketball games.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe Russ wasn't clearly over it completely, but it was more, this business. I could get back with this. Because it's business.
So
KD
why would
on the other hand,
with KD?
Because KD, first and foremost, we was together almost a decade, B. It wasn't like we just got together for like 2 years. My career started with you. We built this thing. And the whole time, Brax, listen, we getting Ox. We are getting this dude. We getting him. Meanwhile, while that's going on, my back is turned. You telling Ox, Ox, listen, as soon as this dude turn his back, I'm getting with you, and we're going to stomp this dude out.
My thing is this, though. Y'all got to understand the detriment that had on Russell Westbrook's career. If you ask me, because I'm like, look, think about it this way. A torn meniscus that sat me down for 3 months. I'm sat down for 3 months.
Mind you, you ain't never got sat down for 3 months
what
before.
What you just did, I don't care. What you just did to me knocked me out the box. Took me out for the next 4 seasons. Knocked me out the box. You got no Braxton. You got to think about this too. We could have won. We could have won. Like we had. We were
I'm
up.
gonna be honest.
We were up
I don't ever think we could have.
We were up on them. We were up on them, and they had to come back and beat us. That means we got action. That means next year we get over that hill, and you left me, and then went over there with them.
Because the dude that you saw over there, you knew he was the gatekeeper.
But to that point, he was
the gatekeeper.
Rex, there's no way. If I'm Russell Westbrook, like this doesn't have to be publicized. I don't know if this ever happened. I'm assuming it didn't. But me, I'm calling you like, all right, bro, you over there with them. That's cool, whatever. But you gonna have to come see me this summer. Like I got to put my hands on you. We got
you mean that type of
we gotta fight, bro. We got to. There's no, we have to fight.
Brax, I really don't think you understand. Like, I'm talking about together from 8 years.
Out of everybody on this stage right now, I get it the most. I'm telling you, I understand.
What was your feeling? What was your feeling with KD when he jumped off that? When he went to Golden State. What was your feeling on KD?
I was 15, boy. I almost cried. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. You don't get it. I woke up. My dad literally woke me up and said, "Hey man, your boy gone." I said,
"What do you mean he gone?"
I'm like, "What you mean he gone?" I check. He said, "Look at your phone." I check my phone. It say Golden State Warriors. Oh man,
you can't be serious that you just did that.
I ain't gonna lie. I got pissed off the fact that he woke me up just for me to see that. Like I almost want.
Screwed
I ain't even gonna say what I want to do.
Screwed your whole day up.
Yeah, my whole day was done.
Finished.
So I get it, but I think Russ would have been like, "Hey man."
3 years later, after what he just did, he goes and jumps on that crew. They go and win.
Yeah,
2 of them. They go and win 2 of them, and now he says, "Yo, Brax, I want to come back home." Now, from a management standpoint, I think Oklahoma City.
Oh, of course, Oklahoma has no choice. It's Oklahoma.
Yes. From a management standpoint, I think they get in the room, and there's some people in that room that don't want to do it. But the check writer is like, "We doing this. Absolutely, we doing it." But from a player standpoint,
the players probably wouldn't want him.
It's only 2 dudes on the crew that's on that crew in 19. That's Andre Roberson and Russ.
Roberson's not a player, bro. Don't say that name around me.
He was a starter on that crew. But even still,
I know
he was a starter on that crew.
He was terrible on offense, but he had impact.
Right,
terrible on offense, bro.
With that being said, there's some conversations that had to be had, and I don't think Russ at that point where he was in his career and what he had done, I don't think he wants anything to do with KD like that. I don't.
I wouldn't say one. We can agree to disagree on the fact. I think he'd probably get over it. I think he, of course, like you said, 3-4 years ago, get out of my face. But later down the line, the fact I know that both of them are competitors, especially Westbrook, and the sacrifices he's taken to win, he'll be like, you know what, bro, I'm over it.
Yeah. Yo, he played with James. He to play with James Harden.
He did have to play with James.
That's a good point, though, Brax. But we're gonna keep it moving, fam. Appreciate you pulling up, getting that off.
All right.
Check us on Tuesday. I mean, my bad. I said Tuesday. Check us on Saturday, bro.
Yes, sir.
Later. I Big Ox, man. I'm thinking about everything that went on right there, and man, that's a hard sell. I ain't talking about from a management standpoint. I think that the suits get in the room, and I think they figure it out. But from a player standpoint, hey, Ox, listen. We're very much considering signing KD back. We're very much considering bringing KD back in the fold. You was on that crew, by the way, in 16 when y'all had Golden State in the chokehold. You was on that crew with Russ. Ox, we can be very much considering bringing KD back and bringing him back into the fold. Man.
It depends on one thing first, Showtime. Have we fought yet?
So we got to knuckle up. We got to go outside. If we got to go outside.
If we haven't fought yet, it's not even a thought. Like, nope, he gotta come see me. We gotta get in the backyard first. If not, nope.
Let's go get some boxing gloves and let's handle this. Once we do that, I bet we can end it right here.
Because my feelings are hurt. At this point, my feelings are hurt. I can't get over
still in that. You're still in that.
You know, I'm thinking about this throughout my day. I'm just walking and I'm like, damn, I should have a ring right now. Oh, but he wouldn't help Steph Curry he wouldn't help Steph Curry Nah, I can't get over that. Chill. I'm serious. I'm gonna be feelings hurt in literal physical pain. I could feel it in my stomach.
Yeah.
Like
That's why I think
crazy.
that's why I'm having a difficult time with Russ, convincing Russ of that, because I'm thinking, is Russ eventually going to come on board, especially after what he just did? Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
not at that time. I don't.
Yeah. Before we get to the rest of the guys in the back, we do got some more guys back there. I just want to bring up this point. Might give us some more talking points when I do get up here. I kind of want to go over the top 10. Not all of them, but y'all know we did all 30 teams. We did the power ranking this earlier this morning on the panel. And so I want to pull up the top 10, and let's kind of go through those and see how you feel about it, because as everybody knows, they are voted on, so it's not everybody doesn't agree with the list. So let's see. Showtime, we have our top 10 players choice was Boston 1, Timberwolves 2, the Clippers 3, Thunder 4, Cavs 5, Nuggets 6, Suns 7, Bucks 8, Knicks 9, and Mavs 10. Do you have any discrepancies in that bottom 5 of the top 10? Mavs, Knicks, Bucks, Suns, Nuggets.
I had Milwaukee at 10. I had them at the bottom of the top 10. I had Denver higher. I mean, I had Denver low. I had them at 8. I had Phoenix at 7, and I had New Orleans at 6. And I don't think that we talk nearly as much about New Orleans as we should. And I'm also guilty of that, because they don't really jump off the screen, even though they should. CJ McCollum is one of the better lead guards in the game. I wasn't really feeling him being the lead guard, because he had played off the ball the majority of his, in fact, not the majority, all of his career in Portland. He played off of Dame. So him now being the primary ball handler, I didn't think that was going to work at all. But that New Orleans team actually is working with him, and they got a really good backup point guard in Alvarado. So their defense is a lot better. I'm a Herb Jones guy. Anybody knows me knows how big of a Herb Jones fan that I am. But the biggest difference in this crew this year than in the past is Zion's been healthy. With Zion being healthy, Zion has done something that he hasn't done in years past. He's able to play in the dunker spot. He plays at the lead guard. He causes a lot of problems when he has the ball going downhill. Plus, Zion can pass. Right. And they get long ball shooters coming off the bench in Trey Murphy, who is cash. One of the better dirty work guys in the league in Larry Nance Jr. He's fantastic. I think that this team quietly has been causing a lot of ruckus. And a lot of people aren't talking about them. A lot of people aren't talking about them at all. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but my man Big Ox right here has made it clear to me that if the playoffs started today and his boys had to see New Orleans, he's not watching one game of that series. He wants nothing to do with New Orleans. Of all the teams in the league, he don't want nothing to do with New Orleans. Nothing.
That's the team that I know I just don't want to see it. If for anybody watching, know that if you missed the panel episode, this is the list right here. Right here, I only got 3 through 30, but 1 was Boston and 2 was Minnesota. Just in case you don't know. Chill. What do you have your top 10? Do you have your 10 pulled up from what we sent in Tehran?
I do. It is. Let's see here. I'll give it to you right now, Big Ox. So at 10, I had Milwaukee. I think that they're teetering right on the outside. They're barely in the top 10, considering what they've been doing defensively. That chemistry is just the way that roster is constructed. I'm having a difficult time with it. At 9, I had Dallas. Dallas is looking a lot better than what they did. At number 8, I got Denver. I don't like what I'm seeing with Denver, just from their rotation in particular. I don't like what I'm seeing from them. At 7, Phoenix. And before Bradley Beal ended up with the hamstring injury, which turns out to not be serious, so he should be back, they were rolling. Phoenix was absolutely rolling. So I like what I saw from them. As you just heard, I had New Orleans at 6. At 5, I had OKC. I like what I'm seeing from OKC. At number 4, I had the Clippers. I have to get on the Clippers train in the regular season, Big Ox. As much as you've been talking about the Clippers since the beginning of the season, I wasn't on board, and I'm still out on them in terms of a championship team. But what they're doing right now, I gotta I got to accept it. That is awesome. At number 3, I had Minnesota. I think that they're one of the few teams in the league that do something consistently at a high level. At number 2, I had Cleveland, and I love everything about Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's winning the NBA championship. I do not think Cleveland's winning the NBA championship, but I do think that they're getting out of the first round. I don't think what you saw last year from Cleveland, you're going to see that this year. You're not going to see that again. That's not going to happen. And at number 1, I had Boston. I think that they're the runaway favorites in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to win the NBA championship.
Yep. Right. Sounds good. Let me see. We got Real Talk. What's up, Real Talk?
What up?
What's up, Big Ox? What's up, Chill? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
What up?
I'm trying to figure out why you don't think the same thing is going to happen to the Cavs this season in the playoffs.
Because it's a year later, and if I thought that, then guys wouldn't improve. Guys wouldn't get better. If I thought that, then every year, like Denver's just winning the NBA championship every year. So Boston's not going to get better. The Clippers are not going to get better. Teams aren't going to get better. This Cleveland team is a young crew. Before Donovan Mitchell got on that crew, they ain't had nobody on that crew over 25 years old. Everybody on that crew was young. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen has gotten a lot better. Darius Garland has actually been better playing off of Donovan Mitchell. That rotation that they have is a lot better. And more importantly, more than anything, this team has gotten tougher because that's what happened to them last year. For lack of a better term, Real Talk, and I don't like to use words like this, but they got bitched against New York. I thought that what they did, what the Knicks did to them, I thought they were going to do that to the Knicks, considering the front line that they had with Evan Mobley, with Jared Allen. I thought Evan Mobley was the best, arguably the best defensive player in the game. That's including Bam. That's including Bam Adebayo. That's including Rudy Gobert. I thought he was in the conversation as the best defensive player in the game. To watch the Knicks front line, Hartenstein, to watch Julius Randle, to watch those guys just basically rough that whole crew up, not just the front line, but that whole crew. It was disheartening. And I'm thinking to myself, as a competitor, there's no way that this team comes back next year getting better, whether we're better offensively and defensively. There's no way that we come back next year and that happens again. And I see that the only way that the Knicks beat them is because they roughed them up. One thing I found out about a bully is once a bully punches you in the face, he expects you to cheese up. I don't want nothing to do with this. But once you punch him back in the face, then he punches you again, then you punch him again. He's like, oh, shit, I got to fight this dude. He's not prepared to do that. What the Knicks are banking on, and not just the Knicks, I think there's other teams in the league that look at Cleveland. That was their mantra. Yo, we can rough these dudes up. They're kids. Once they find out that, no, you can't do that, and now you have to come up with something different, you have to actually play now. Now I think we got a different ballgame.
I hear you, and it's not even about like the Cavs not improving. I just think that let's stick to the Knicks. Like the team they lost to also got better. They acquired OG. Jalen Brunson has taken another leap.
Bojan.
They just got Bojan. DiVincenzo's been playing very, very well over there. I don't know. I just feel like they have a multitude of bodies they can throw at at Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland between Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, OG. Jalen Brunson can sit down in the chair a little bit. Now, maybe if they're like a higher seed and, they get, which is quite possible because they're number 2 in the East right now? And they, the first round, they get like
if the playoffs started today, if the playoffs started today, they get Miami in round 1, which is a great matchup for them. And the reason why I feel like that's a great test for them, because that's exactly what they had to deal with last year. Just a rough, tough, gritty team. Now you have an opportunity to prove that what happened last year, let's take your game off the table, right? Let's take all of that off the table. You have an opportunity to prove that you won't be pushed around. Now we can talk about games. Now we can talk about actually getting it on. Once we get that out the way.
Even when you said Miami, I was thinking like one of the lowest seeds. Maybe it could be like, the Pacers or something. But I don't know if they get through Miami. To be honest, Miami is a whole nother team in the playoffs. Eric Spoelstra to me is by far the best coach in the league. Jimmy Butler rises to a whole other player in the playoffs. I don't know. And watching that Cavs team, I just think what's missing from them, like I like Evan Mobley, I like Jared Allen, and even Darius Garland, but like in the playoffs, it was kind of like Donovan Mitchell or bust offensively. Nobody else really wanted to be aggressive. Nobody else really wanted to, do anything with the ball. So
why is that, Real Talk? Since you brought that up, why is that? Why didn't anybody want to do anything? Why do you think that is?
I just don't think they're that good of offensive players. It just, in my opinion, like outside of maybe Darius Garland, who I think should be more aggressive, because I do think he's, that caliber of player, but like that's what Cleveland is waiting on. They're waiting on the offensive leap of Evan Mobley. Jared Allen has been very good this year. I will say that he's been very good, but like the leap of Evan Mobley, how is Max going to play in the playoffs? That's kind of iffy. I just, they're a really good regular season team, but I don't know. I don't know if they can beat some of these better teams in the Eastern Conference. Yeah,
I don't think they're a championship team. I want to make sure we're clear on that. I don't think that they're winning the NBA championship. I'm not going that far. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is what I saw last year from them against the Knicks, I don't think I'm seeing that this year. I think I'm seeing a completely different unit. And I do think they get out of the first round. I think this team's ceiling. I think this team's ceiling is the Eastern Conference championship. I think that's their ceiling.
Real talk. You don't think, like, especially for a young big, like I remember my first time playing against like grown men that were like professionals and overseas players and stuff. Like my first time really playing with them, you realize how much stronger you got to be. You realize like no matter I might be more skilled than him, but I can't get with him because when he puts that boom, I'm knocked all the way off everything. I can't do it. Don't you think that was good for Evan Mobley last year? Don't you think he's coming to his own or no? Not
he has beefed up too, by the way. Since we're on that subject, he has beefed up. He's put some weight on too.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying that they can be better. I'm not saying that they're not better. I'm just saying, New York has also gotten better. Like that's what I'm. So if a team has already beat you, even if y'all progress at the same rate, they're already better than you. So they just, if you take a leap and they take a leap, they're still better than you. Like
my thing is, were they necessarily better or just more physical, stronger in the paint?
That's what I think. I think they were just tougher, more than anything.
Now was Mitchell Robinson? Did Mitchell Robinson play in that series?
Him, Hartenstein. They just roughed it. They just roughed
because Mitchell is out though. Correct.
How long is Mitchell Robinson out? I'm getting mixed reviews on that. Like I'm hearing Mitch is coming back in a month. I'm hearing he's missing the playoffs. I don't know what's true. So.
Because I do think if he's not available, then that can, change the dynamic of that series a little bit. Because he was also a part of that being physical on the front line for the New York Knicks for sure. He's one of the better offensive rebounders in the league. Good rim protector and everything. Right. So if he's missing from that series, that can kind of change the dynamics of that series a little bit.
I would actually like to see. I would like to see the Knicks and Cleveland again to see where Cleveland is at this point, because I just don't think I'm gonna see the same team that I saw last year. I'm not. Just like I didn't. You, Real Talk, being a Kobe guy, you didn't see the same Kobe in 2000 that you saw in '99. That's a different dude. Right. And one of the main things about him that was different wasn't just his skill set. He got tougher. He beefed up some more because the playoffs, we're not going to win with me playing the way I played last year. I have to be more physical. I have to be more prepared physically in order for us to win. And once I'm doing that, then the other stuff doesn't matter because now I can let my game do the talking.
I also wanted to, who to y'all are like, because I know y'all did the team rankings today, like the top 10 and everything.
Yep.
Who are teams that can actually win a championship though to y'all?
I think the road to the NBA championship goes through Denver. Denver already proved that they can
I
win
agree.
The Clippers, the post that's holding up that tent is Leonard. He's the post that's holding up that tent. No matter what Paul George does, James Harden, we've seen him flame out in the playoffs. Russ as your lead guard. He's now a rotation guard, so you're not dependent on him as much as you used to. Paul George already told us he was not a number one on the championship team. That post that's holding up that tent with the Clippers is the health of Kawhi Leonard, because that's the only guy on that crew that you've seen get there and do it. I mean, Norman Powell was on Toronto, and they won the NBA
I was about to
championship.
say, respect Norman Powell.
Norman Powell was on Toronto, but he was also a rotation guy. So he knows what his job is as a rotation guy. When we get into the championship series or winning the NBA championship, what it boils down to, my best player is better than your best player. That's essentially what it is. And the post that's holding up that tent with the Clippers is Kawhi Leonard. I don't think Oklahoma City is there yet. I think that they're still young.
Me either.
Minnesota actually has everything to win it. If you look at the dynamic of that crew, they have everything to win it. The question is, can they put it together? We got a third-year shooting guard who's been inconsistent in closing games. I've seen Cat disappear. There's been games, real talk, where I've watched, because I watch a lot of Minnesota games. There have been games where I forgot Cat was on the floor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's games when I'm like, oh, so I forgot he was in the game. Because that's where I don't see him for 3, 4, 5 different plays because he's not engaged. He won't rebound. So I'm thinking to myself, can I get if I get that in the playoffs, this is the thing that's going to be the difference in us winning and losing. That right there. So as of right now in the Western Conference, I think the road to the NBA championship goes through Denver. In the East, Boston has been there. I don't think Cleveland is there yet. Milwaukee doesn't play enough defense for me. Could the Knicks grit their way to the finals? I don't think it's ridiculous to think that. I don't either,
but I don't think I think there's only one championship caliber team in the East, and that's the Celtics. As far as like beating one of the Western Conference teams, do I think like the Knicks can get to the finals? Right. Yes. Do I see them beating a Denver, a Clippers, Dallas potentially? I don't. The only team. Yeah, I'm really high on Dallas since the trade deadline, since they got a Gaffer.
Higher on Dallas. You're higher on Dallas making it winning than you are Milwaukee even making it to the finals.
No, I think Milwaukee can make the finals. I'm saying I just don't think they can't beat. They can't beat one of the Western Conference teams. No.
So to be clear, you're saying Milwaukee cannot beat Denver in the finals.
But
no.
But the Knicks could get there, which means that the Knicks could get past Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee has a lot of. When 2 or 3 stars get together, it's kind of like immediate championship expectation,
right?
But when you look at that Milwaukee roster, like just the lack of a POA presence at all at the guard position, and then Dame. Y'all saying it's a 3-year window. Dame is what, 33? And he's a 6'1", 6'2" guard that relies on, outstanding outside shooting and quickness and speed when he gets, by his defender. He looks like he's regressed to me. Like he's not the same player that he was just last year. He's not the same. He's not the same Dame from last year.
So you're talking physically. You ain't even talking about his game. Just physically, he looks different than he did last year.
He's not as good as he was last year. I don't believe that.
Would it be because of the system that he's playing in right now, having to work off of Giannis, or is it just Dame is starting to slow down?
I just think he's just starting to slow down, which is to me is normal. I mean, he's a 33, guard. Yeah, right. That's around the age where they kind of started taking a little step back. Now I do think like potentially Dame can put it together in spurts. So like say if they make the playoffs and I can see Dame like having a good playoff run, but like for an 82 game season being consistently great for 82 games and then being great a whole. I don't think he can do. I think he can do it in spurts. I don't know if he can do it for that long.
I'm not sure if he has to do that though. But what he does have to do is he has to be protected, and they don't have that.
Yeah, they don't have that right now.
We could talk about we can talk about the Milwaukee Bucks being deficient defensively. Every team knows what you're running, so every team is going to go after the weak link in the defense. They don't have what they need to protect him though. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, so I think there's 4 teams in the West that can win a title. I think there's only one in the East.
What are the 4 West teams?
I think Denver, the Clippers, Dallas, and y'all know I'm gonna say LA, baby. The Lakers.
And the Lakers.
I just always think that LeBron and AD are you can't ever just count them out. When
we had this conversation earlier. Real talk. Are the Lakers looking at Oklahoma City like they food?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody is.
Bring them. Go get them.
Bro, as much as I think, Chet is a really good player, but Chet is 2-3 years of mistakes away from being, a real paint presence like that.
So James ain't looking at this dude like this dude is my son's age. I'm not losing to my son. I'm not.
Yeah, nah. AD and Bron are rim running that series. The Lakers are beating OKC in 5 or 6 games.
Real talk. Saying the Lakers are championship contenders, first and foremost, I was going to say that's crazy. But saying that they're champions, saying that
remember where it's coming from, though. Real talk. Remember where it's coming from.
But no, it's not like that. I'm not saying that they aren't, and we are. I don't think either one of us are championship contenders.
Right.
I'm saying that to say that they're championship contenders and not bring up the Suns or the Timberwolves, I'm just not really vibing with that.
Oh, my fault. My fault. 5, because I do believe the Timberwolves can win a chip. Suns, I'm concerned about Bradley Beal's health. And I mean, I don't know where y'all at, bro. KD, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro. I think there's a lot more hype around KD from what he used to be to like what he actually is right now. KD's still a great player, but when you see him in matchups where teams have big, strong, physical wings that can match up with him, like this past game they played against Golden State, where there's a Kuminga, there's a Draymond, there's a Wiggins. He tends to struggle against wins.
Are you saying that at this stage in KD's career he can be pushed around? Is that what you're saying?
I see him off balance a lot. I'm not saying he's still not great, but I don't know. Like to me, Devin Booker's the best player on the team.
That's real talk.
But chill. That's what we call one of them good problems.
That's what it sounds like to me. That's exactly what. In the words of Marlo Stanfield, it's one of them good problems. Yes, sir. Real talk. Good to talk to you, brother. We appreciate you.
Fam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. When you got a problem where I got to choose between Devin Booker and KD, damn, what am I gonna do, Big Ox? Who am I gonna pick, man? What are you doing to me over here? Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me grab I got Leaf in the back, and then after this, we're gonna get to this other topic. I got some other things I want to holler at you about.
Yeah.
Leaf,
what up? What up?
Leaf might not be here.
He's talking and we can't hear him. We'll see if we can get him back. Yeah, we'll see if we can get him back.
Leaf, you there now? Nope. All right. So
nope.
We'll try again after this segment. It's all good, Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep you up there.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get him back.
So it's 4 things. Obviously, we'll probably get to talking and might get something else going on. But there's 4 components of the rest of the season that I kind of want to talk about that I don't think we talk about very much. Sometimes we will. I want to see what these 4 things, how you think they will look the back half of the season, the last 28. We'll call it, this last 28.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, what should we expect in terms of intensity of these basketball games?
Mm-hmm. So we'll start there with intensity. Again, Big Ox, the last 28 games, teams are getting healthy. Teams are in a stretch run. They got their rotations down. Teams are trying to get playoff position. So I think that you're going to see a lot of teams pick up their intensity. Plenty of teams are going to be playing a lot harder than they normally would because you're jockeying for position at this point. Teams are trying to keep the spots that they're in, and then teams are trying to move up from the spots that they're in. Because again, today is what, the 20th of February? Playoffs start 2 months from today. 2 months from the day the playoffs start. So with that being said, Cleveland wants to keep that top 2 spot. Milwaukee is hanging on for dear life right now. Because Milwaukee could very well go from 3 to the play-in tournament. That could happen. That could very well happen, and they ain't trying to hear that.
So you think we'll see intensity by way of or due to being competitors, competition, because that is the next category, if you will, I wanted to ask you about. Competition level. Are we going to see more 48 minutes of just we got to win? Guys looking like they're here to compete, especially those top 9-10 teams.
I remember it was probably right around this time of year when I would see Shaq and things that were funny like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, things that were funny in January, they ain't as funny no more. Like his fuse was shorter. He didn't smile as much. He was a lot more serious around this time of year than he was in December when I would see him or earlier in the season. It wasn't really a lot of joking. It wasn't really a lot of playing around. It was, all right, time to get down to business. And I think this stretch run, teams like the Knicks are going to be healthy. They get Julius Randle back at the end of the month. They get OG back, who had that procedure on his elbow. Hartenstein's going to be healthy. They're now playing for the stretch run. So with that being said, a team like the Knicks are really chasing it. So I think that their level of competition, their level of expectation is going to go up. So they're going to step up their game even more. Milwaukee is hanging on by a thread. So they know that the competition is coming after them. And the one thing that I got to do, you mentioned it before, Big Ox, sometimes with your best friends, you got to knuckle up. Well, when you fighting for a playoff position, the Milwaukee Bucks have to be prepared to knuckle up. They have to be prepared to knuckle up because there's teams that are looking at them like we want that spot. There's nobody afraid of the Milwaukee Bucks. So I don't think it's a health issue with them. I do think it's a personnel issue with them, and they're hanging on for dear life. So they're going to have to up their intensity. The Cavs are trying to hold on to their spot at the number 2 spot, and I think that they're the one team in the East that I'm thinking about. Other than Boston, they're the one team in the East that I'm thinking about, with the exception of Minnesota, that does something consistently at a high level, and that's defend. And I think that they could keep that intensity. And if they could keep that intensity, I think that they could stay at the top of the Eastern Conference. Now, teams like Miami, you're going to see a different Miami team because, again, we only got 2 months left in the regular season. With these 2 months left in the regular season, I don't think they coast to the playoffs because there's no guarantee we're going to make the playoffs. I don't think Miami wants to be a play-in team again. I don't think they want to be the 7 or 8 seed again. I think that they want to move up. So now guys like Terry Rozier, I was about to call him Austin Reeves, Tyler Hero, Bam, Buckets, who had a family issue. These guys are now getting back into the fold, but these dudes getting back into the fold, they're going to be even more intense. Same logic was going on in the West.
Yeah, see, and in the West too. And that's what I'm thinking, right? When I look at it, when I look at the 5 to 9 in the West, it's real close there. And these guys are fighting for their lives. When you got I'll even say 5 to 10 because I want to speak on the Warriors as well. So when you got the Warriors at 27-6, and then you got the Lakers and the Kings right above them. The Kings 2 games ahead of the Lakers. The Lakers a game and a half ahead of the Warriors. The Mavericks half a game ahead of the Kings, and the Pelicans a game ahead of this. Or the Pelicans and the Suns are tied a game ahead of the Mavericks. So from 5 to 10, we're talking about 5 games in between 5 and 10. So this last 28 is going to be a lot of fighting for them 5.
Think about that for a second, Big Ox. We're tied with New Orleans and Phoenix. That's the difference. This tie, us breaking this tie with Phoenix jumping New Orleans or New Orleans staying where they are. It would be the difference in playing Denver in the first round or playing the Clippers in the first round. Who do you want? You want the defending champs or you want the best team in the league since December?
If I'm the Suns, I think I want the Nuggets if I'm the Suns.
Are you sure? Because you considering what they did to you guys last year. I'm looking at what they did to them last year. You still haven't shored up your front line. KD got caught a lot in switches with Joker, and they exploited that. Not only did they exploit that, they went after KD defensively. They definitely went after him, and it showed. Don't get me wrong, KD only played 8 games going into the playoffs, and I think he's got a little bit more of a rhythm. But we're talking from 5 to 9. It's separated by 3.5 games, which means you can have a bad week and go from hosting a playoff series or being in the playoffs to you're the last team in the play-in. Yeah. So these last 28 games, there is no room for error. There is nothing that we can do right now to dig ourselves. We can't do anything to dig ourselves in any type of hole, because if you look at what's going on right now with the dynamic of the Western Conference being only separated by 3 games from 5 to 9, only separated by 3 games, we do not want to be in a position. We do not want to be in a position where we find ourselves having to fight for our playoff lives, where now we got to play in the play-in tournament. We don't want to be there. We do not want to be there. And you also looking at teams like the Clippers, who in Oklahoma City, who they want to keep their spots. So whenever you see those dudes, they're going to be prepared too. So I think it's going to be a dogfight these last 28 games, Big Ox. A dogfight.
Right. You know what I want to do, Chill? This is what I want to do. Let's start with, so we got the 10th seed in the West. The 10th seed in the West is the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
We got 28 games.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of time left. You know, Chill, we should do this throughout the remainder of the season until we might start doing 2 a day. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it off air. I'll text you. We'll figure it out. But I want to, it doesn't have to be every team, but let's talk about the teams that are in the playoffs, and let's run down the remainder of the season real quick. Let's go down their schedule and let's see what we can expect from the Warriors. The Warriors right now are 27 and 26. So they got, what's that? So that's 53 games. 53.
They got 56 games left.
Well, they played 53.
Yeah, they played 53 games. No, they played 53 games. I'm sorry. So they got
so they got 29 games left. They got 29 games.
They got 29 games left. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's project what their record will be at the end of the season. So right now, what are they? I said they are. Let me write it down. 27.
27 and 27. Game over 500, Big Ox. One game over 500, and then the 10th spot. So if I run down their schedule,
the Lakers, they play the Lakers.
James ain't playing tomorrow. James probably won't play tomorrow. Okay, so that's a playoff team that they're playing. He won't play tomorrow. Charlotte, that's not a playoff team. They should beat them.
So right now they're 2-0 right now.
Yep, they should beat them. Then they got Denver on Sunday. That's going to be a dogfight. I think Denver gets them. Then they go back east for a 4-game East Coast road trip. They got to go to Washington, who I think they should beat.
Right.
They got the Knicks on Thursday. Next Thursday. I think that's going to be a tough game. I think the Knicks get them in Madison Square Garden. Even though Curry, throughout the course of his career, has been really good in New York. He's really good in New York. With Klay coming off the bench, but I think the Knicks get them. They should beat Toronto.
Toronto, okay.
They should beat Toronto. I don't know what it is about Boston with Jason Tatum and Steph Curry, because it's almost like he see the boogeyman when he see him. Right. I don't know, Big Ox. I can't put my finger on it. So of these 4 games, I think they win 3 of them, because I think they beat Boston.
Okay, so beat Boston and lose to Milwaukee, or?
I think they beat Boston and lose to the Knicks. I think they beat Washington. I think they lose to the Knicks. I think they beat Toronto, and I think they beat Boston. So now what we're looking at
4-3 right now.
So they beat the Lakers.
Oh, lost to Milwaukee too, right?
Yeah, they beat the Lakers. That's 1 win. They beat Charlotte. That's 2. They lose to Denver. That's 2-1. And then these next 4 games, they win 3 of them. Right? These next 4 games, they win 3 of them. So that's 5 and 3? Because they lose to Boston. So that's 5 and 3. Then they play Milwaukee at home on Wednesday. I think they beat Milwaukee, Big Ox. I do.
Okay.
I think they beat Milwaukee. They got Chicago coming in the next night.
So wait, what are we at right now? We're at 6 and 3.
6 and 3. Yep.
6 and 3.
They got Chicago coming in the next night. I think they beat Chicago.
Okay. 7 and 3.
Then they play San Antonio
twice
in back-to-back games. I think they beat them both times.
Boom, boom.
That's 9.
9 and 3. Then they got Dallas.
At Dallas. I think they lose that game.
Okay.
I think they lose at Dallas. Then they got a couple of days off. So Wednesday they don't play again until Saturday. It's a primetime game Saturday night. I think the Lakers get them. I think the Lakers get them. In Los Angeles, yeah, I think the Lakers get them. Then they come back home. They got the Knicks at home. I think the Knicks beat them again.
Mm-hmm. Then Memphis.
They should beat Memphis. Indiana, who we know is really deficient defensively, they'll get in a track meet with them, and I think they'll beat Indiana. And then they go back east for another 5 games.
Minnesota, they
lose. I think they lose at Minnesota. I think they lose at Minnesota.
South Beach.
They come down to Miami. I think they beat the Heat. I do. I think they beat the Heat. I think they lose at Orlando the next night, though. I do. I think Orlando beats them the next night.
Okay. Then we got Charlotte.
I think that they beat Charlotte.
San Antonio.
I think they beat San Antonio.
Dallas again.
They got Dallas at home. I think they beat Dallas at home.
Houston in Houston.
I think they beat Houston.
And then go to Dallas.
I think they lose at Dallas.
The very next night.
Yep.
Head back to the Bay to play Utah.
Who I think that they beat in a dogfight. Because Utah's fighting for their playing lives. I think they beat them in a dogfight.
Okay. Then they go down to Los Angeles. Back in LA.
I think they lose to the Lakers again.
Come up to Portland.
I think they smoke Portland. I think they go up there and smoke them.
And the last 2 games of the season are both at home, one against New Orleans, one against Utah.
I don't think anything is wrapped up here, Big Ox. I think all of these games are playoff implications. So they got New Orleans at home. I think New Orleans handles them at home. Mm-hmm. And I think that they beat Utah again in a dogfight. Where are we at?
So that's 5, 10, 15. So this is 19. So are they 19 and 10?
That's what I see.
19 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 19 and 10. What's that put them at?
So 19 more wins for the Golden State Warriors currently puts them 46 games.
36. So you got them winning 46.
46 games gets them, I think, the 6th seed. I think 46 wins gets them the 6th seed. Mm-hmm.
46 should get you the 6th seed.
46 should get them the 6th seed. And the reason why I'm saying that, Big Guys,
what are we talking about here this Showtime? What are we saying?
We just ran down their schedule. What I don't want you to forget is the majority 12 of those 29 teams, almost half, are not making are not playoff teams. Remember that. So it's going to look a little bit different. It's going to look a lot different than what it would normally look like. So I see them going on runs where they win 6 or 7. I think they're 8-2 right now, going into the All-Star break. I can see them running off 6 or 7 straight. I could see that happening. I could definitely see that happening.
Man, that's what they got last year. They were the 6th seed last year.
Yep.
Got to the second round, lost to the second round to the Lakers.
Yep.
Wow. That's when you run it down. I mean, it's real.
If you look at their schedule, the second half of the season, these last 28 games, it's really favorable for them. They don't have a nightmare schedule like they did earlier in the season. They don't have that kind of schedule.
Right. Okay, yeah, that had me thinking. But let me go back a step real quick, because we were talking about the intensity and competition. So when you think about that intensity, competition, and the Warriors riding that, because the Warriors are going to compete. Draymond is not going to let the Warriors lay down, and we know it.
Right.
They're going to go until the wheels fall off, and that's guaranteed. What other type of what else can we expect in the back end, the last 28 or 29? What could we expect from reffing? Can we see the refs? What can we expect from the refs this second half? Are they gonna ref any different from the first part of the season? Are they gonna lighten up? Are they gonna call it a little more chippy? Are they gonna let them play a little harder? What can we expect?
No, I do think that we'll see some matchups where you might see, quick whistles. For example, the game that we were just talking about, where Golden State, let's say Golden State, when they go see Minnesota, they're on like a 6-game winning streak. And now they coming into Minnesota. That's a big game. And it might get chippy, knowing who Draymond is. So I think that you might see some early whistles. The refs will get control of that game early. I don't think that we're going to see much difference because, again, even though we're in this part of the season, I don't think that refs this part of the season take it any differently. I mean, they ref games like it's the playoffs. We've seen bad refs in the playoffs, just like we've seen bad refs in January. So I think that with the right crew, I think you can get some good I think you can get some good officiating, but with bad crews, you can get some terrible officiating.
Okay. So is there ever, have you ever noticed any type of switch up before, like with refs, like mid-season, or is it usually pretty consistent?
It with officials, depending on the crew, I think that they look at this stretch of the season just like players do, especially refs that ref in the playoffs. And I also think that you got refs who are trying to get to the playoffs, so they may be looking to make their mark too. So, I mean, I don't think it's any. To be honest with you, Big Ox, I don't think that they ref any different in the regular season.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago than they do now, even though things pick up and they know that they pick up, but I don't think that they're going to ref any different.
Okay. What about what can we expect from coaches as far as rotations go? The rotations get shorter? Do they get deeper in the bench? What do we do February, March, and April of this season?
It depends on who it depends on which crew that you're looking at. So, for example, Cleveland, I think they got a 9-man rotation. Now, that rotation, I think, is going to be pretty consistent, considering the long ball shooters that you got in D-Wade, and the defenders that you got in Okoro. I think that 9-man rotation with Karis LeVert, I think that they're going to be pretty consistent. Teams like Dallas, I think that their rotation is going to get shortened. I don't think you're going to see Dwight Powell in the rotation. I think with the addition of Gafford, I think that Powell is now relegated to the bench. I don't think you're going to see him as much. The Lakers also, I think that their rotation could get shortened. I don't think that you're going to see as many guys that you saw in January that you're going to see in the second half of the season. The Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr has adopted that Phil Jackson style where he would play guys. Phil Jackson would play 10, 11 guys. Steve Kerr made the mistake of not playing his young guys. Well, now he's in a position where Clay has now moved to the bench, which I don't think he's going to stay there long. I think Clay is going to start playing good, and Steve Kerr's going to put him back in the starting lineup. But with that being said, I do think that he's going to dig deep into his bench while this stretch is going on, because I think he's going to get those guys geared up for the playoffs. So teams like Boston, I think that their rotations are going to get short. And I think Cornette, I don't think that you're going to see him as much. I think Brissett, I don't think you're going to see him as much. I think Doc could dig deeper into his bench, but more times than not, when you get to this time of year, rotations start to shorten because teams are getting ready for the playoffs. So teams are getting ready for the playoffs. Guys that played in January, guys that played in December, they don't play as much in March because we're getting ready for the playoffs.
Okay. What about what about media and media outlets? Even what should we expect from the sports media? Could we expect any agenda pushing? And if so, what agendas do you think they're going to start pushing? And I'm talking about not just ESPN, FS1. I'm talking about even YouTube, Players' Choice. What should we expect to see from media and media outlets, big or small, known or unknown, from anything? What type of vibes do we get from media at this point in the play or in the series? Are they getting super excited, just pushing out anything, or what are we seeing right now?
Well, think about this, Big Ox. These last 28 games of the season, what's going to be determined these last 28 games of the season? League MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA, All Defense. So there's going to be guys, Coach of the Year. So there's going to be guys that are going to be talked about more than they were talked about a month ago. There are going to be guys who are going to fall off. There's going to be agendas pushed where, Rudy Gobert is going to be pushed even more. Guys like Kawhi Leonard are going to be pushed, considering he plays in Los Angeles with the Clippers. Should Kawhi Leonard be considered an MVP candidate, especially if the Clippers keep doing what they're doing and he keeps doing what he's doing? Should Kawhi Leonard be in the MVP conversation? How about Donovan Mitchell? Donovan Mitchell, is he a first-team All-NBA performer this year? Are the Cleveland Cavaliers legit? Should Donovan Mitchell be mentioned in the MVP conversation? Things like that are going to go on. Is Jason Tatum the league MVP, considering where they are, what he's done? Those kind of narratives are going to get pushed these last 28 games of the year because so many things are riding on these last 28 games. Who's going to be the league MVP? Who's going to be the defensive player of the year? Who's going to be on the all-league defensive team? Who's going to be first-team all-defense? Who's going to be the most improved player? So these last 28 games, that matters a lot to these media outlet guys. Us too.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you being in sports media, Chilltown, what agendas are you going to be pushing these last 28, 30 games of the season?
I don't know if it's an agenda or a narrative more than recognizing what is. So the more I watch the Minnesota Timberwolves, the more I think that this team is legit. And I think that they can make some serious noise in the playoffs.
Let's be specific, Chilltown. Let's be specific.
Right.
For these last 28 games going in right now, not in hindsight when we get to the end. Right now, who are you expecting to be pushing for Defensive Player of the Year?
I think Rudy Gobert is at the top of that list. I think he's ultimately going to win it. I think Bam Adebayo is going to be in the conversation for being Defensive Player of the Year. When you think about the Defensive Player of the Year, more times than not, it's the best player on the best defensive team. That's usually how it goes. So I think Rudy Gobert is going to win the Defensive Player of the Year. The league MVP, I think that's going to go to Joker.
Are you pushing for that?
I am pushing. And the reason why I'm pushing for that, Big Ox, I'm pushing for that because when Rudy Gobert wins the Defensive Player of the Year for the 4th time in 7 years, there's going to be some people that's going to want to have a conversation. Where does Rudy Gobert fall as the best in terms of the greatest defensive players of all time? It's only 3 other guys. I mean, it's only 2 other guys who've won Defensive Player of the Year 4 times. If Rudy wins it this year, it's going to be Rudy, Ben Wallace, and Dikembe Mutombo. That's it.
Fire.
That's it. So
you're pushing for Rudy for Defensive Player of the Year. Who are you pushing? What we'll just call it an agenda. Nah, whatever. What agenda? Who are you pushing for Rookie of the Year?
I mean, we had this conversation. If it's close, it's Wemby, but it hasn't been really close in like the last couple of weeks. And I think Wemby is starting to create some space. And as good as Chet has been, and I love this kid Jaime Jaquez down in Miami. I love everything that he's doing, but I think Wemby is going to be the runaway Rookie of the Year this year. I don't think it's going to be close.
Pretty much looks that way. Looks that way. What about Coach of the Year? Who are you pushing for these last 28?
My preseason pick was Bickerstaff. That's who my Coach of the Year was. And I think he's going to win it, considering what he had to deal with. The fact that he lost Evan Mobley, his best defensive player. The fact that he lost his point guard for almost 2 months. And this team was still in the middle of the playoff race. They were a top 5 seed. And now to get those guys back, the defense gets better. They're back at the top of the Eastern Conference. Him and the head coach, there's 3 different guys. It's Bickerstaff, it's Mark Daigneault from Oklahoma City, and it's Finch from Minnesota. And I think it's Bickerstaff in Cleveland. I think he's the Coach of the Year this year.
Okay. Yep. What about MVP? Who are you pushing for MVP right now?
I think it's Joker. I think Joker wins the league MVP this year, considering what Denver has done. I don't think Denver's going to stay where they are. I think Denver is going to get better, and I think that they're going to have one of these 3 I think they're going to have one of these 3 spots before the season ends, maybe even the second spot. If they're the second seed, I think Joker wins it. If he doesn't win it, Jason Tatum's winning the league MVP. If he doesn't win it, Jason Tatum is the league MVP. As good as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's been playing, as good as Luka has been playing, I think that if we're talking about this season, Jason Tatum's going to win the league MVP if they don't give it to Joker.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the season I had JT or Luka.
I had Jason Tatum before the season started. That's what I had.
Okay, and as the season winds down and it's playoffs are starting to line up, we're starting to see who's seeded where. We're starting to talk matchups. We're starting to make predictions on this series is going to be this series is going to be that. This team, if it lines up this way, just basketball talk.
Right.
When we're having these conversations, Chilltown, who are you going to be pushing for the champs? Who is going to come out of this season with the Larry O'Brien Trophy? Who are you pushing for these last 28 to 30 games? I'm sorry.
I just think that the NBA champ this year is who I thought was before the season started. It's the Boston Celtics. I think that the way I feel about Boston is the way I felt about Denver last year. They have the most complete team in the league. Jason Tatum, this is the most efficient he's ever been in his career. And now he's got a guy in Porzingis who is the difference, who actually pushes them over the top. And defensively, they're a top 5 team defensively. Offensively, they're a top 5 team offensively. I think that everything that's necessary at the point guard spot, they've gotten better at everything that Marcus Smart does. Everything that Marcus Smart does, Jrue Holiday does it, except better. Everything. And with that being said, they got great rotation players. They got a great role player in Derek White. They are, I feel, the most complete team in the league. And because they're the most complete team in the league, I think they're going to win the NBA championship.
I can see that. Well, we're going to wrap it up with Nick Tri-State. We'll pull him up and wrap it up with him. What's going on, Nick?
What up?
What's good, fellas?
What up?
Yeah, Chill. As a Laker fan, I'm gonna have to unfortunately agree. It pains me to say I like Boston. I got a weird feeling of the West this year. I got a weird feeling about the Clippers. I don't know why. My basketball instincts are telling me rock with the Clippers this year. If they're healthy going into the playoffs, I think they could be a dangerous team. I think they could be a real dangerous team.
Yeah. With Kawhi Leonard, absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, no doubt about
that.
that.
Big Zoo in the middle with those 4 in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
It's all on the Eagles at that point. You know what I mean? And if they figure that out, it could be kind of scary. I don't think Kawhi don't got a problem at all playing with George Harden and Westbrook. I think the 2 guys to look out for is Harden and Westbrook. Hopefully Harden doesn't be too aggressive. He doesn't have to be overly aggressive. He doesn't need to be 2016, 28, 17, or 18 Harden. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just, you feel me? Just trust Paul George and Kawhi Leonard as well.
I just got to see it.
And Russ can't turn the ball over.
Which is not likely. Even though he's actually been playing really well. He's not been a turnover machine, but I'm out on the Clippers. I need to see it, man. I've had this conversation year in and year out. I keep hearing if they were healthy, if they were this, and I can't keep doing this dance with you, man. I can't. Show it to me. Show it to me.
And as far as the Warriors, I saw you doing the schedule breakdown. I don't think it's their year. I think it's just. I don't think it's gonna happen for them this year. The West is too good. The West is way too good. They'll get in the play-in, but they're not. I don't think they're gonna make any noise this year. I don't see them making any noise.
That's who they are. All right, Nick, good to talk to you, brother.
Yo, take care, fellas. Much love.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, there's that. I mean, I gotta say, it's believable once we broke down the schedule, but I just don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the Warriors are gonna be able to do it, man.
Big Ox, you know the Warriors, man. As long as Steph, Clay, and Dre are over there, even though when you see Clay, you want to see the other dude. But the fact that he over there, the fact that all 3 of them dudes is over there, they do have a chance.
Right.
Unfortunately, they do have a chance. Do I think they're gonna do it again? I don't. I think that those days are over. But the fact that they over there and Clay and Steph is still playing at the level that Steph's still playing at, it's hard to say that they can't do it. I just don't think that they're going to do it. That's all.
Well, next time we'll break down another team schedule here in on Saturday. We'll be back on Saturday, y'all. I appreciate everybody that pulled up, everybody that was active in the chat. Man, keep showing that love, keep showing the support, and we will be here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at noon Eastern. Y'all be sure to click the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and make sure you click that notification bell. Also, down here, playerschoicemerch.com. Go grab you a hoodie, a beanie, t-shirt, anything you find was really great merch on there. Grab something. We'll check y'all next time. Chilltown.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. She's looking for you, man. When last time you talked to your mother?
Definitely. Like,
what you say, Big Ox?
I was just gonna say, you know, just like you said, Chilltown, never drink and drive. Call a cab, call an Uber, call a Lyft, and you know,
right here. If you're in the area, pick the telephone up. He'll come get you. He will come get you. Just call him up. He'll come scoop you. Just tell him where you at. He'll come get you. Until then, take it light, but take it.
All right, y'all.
Later.